Hey guys, welcome back. Today we're breaking down one of the most underutilized tools in Fight Night Champion and Revival, and that would be head movement. If you've been relying purely on your guard and footwork to survive exchanges, you're actually leaving a massive amount of your own potential on the table. Head movement in Fight Night Champion is a complete offensive and defensive system that, when used correctly, will make you significantly harder to hit, even more difficult to read, and overall dramatically more dangerous in the counter window. So let's get into it. Head movement serves two major functions simultaneously, both defense and offense, although most players probably only think of one or the other. On the defensive side, head movement lets you outright dodge punches entirely, or change the angle at which a punch connects with you. That second part is important. Even if you don't fully evade a shot, slipping it correctly reduces the damage you take. You end up not eating the full force of the punch, and over the course of a 12-round fight, that difference is enormous. On the offensive side, and this is where it gets interesting, head movement changes the angle of your own punches. A jab thrown from a neutral stance hits differently than a jab thrown after slipping to your outside. Punches thrown from new angles do more damage, and more importantly, they open up new counter windows. The single biggest upgrade you can make to your head movement game isn't even mechanical, it's visual. Stop watching your opponent's gloves, start watching their shoulders like in real boxing. Every punch animation in this game has a tell, and that tell could live in the shoulder rotation right before a punch comes out. For example, a dropping left shoulder is often a right hand loading up. A rising right shoulder can telegraph an uppercut. Once you train yourself to read these different animation sets, you stop reacting to punches and instead begin to actually anticipate them. So this does two things for you. First, obviously, you dodge more. But second, and more importantly, it forces your opponent to have to adapt on the fly. If they throw the same combinations and you're slipping them consistently, they have to become more creative, patient, and unpredictable. Now let's talk mechanics. Not all head movement works the same way, and different directions serve different purposes. Leaning directly back can be your bread and butter against certain hooks and uppercuts. When an opponent commits to a wide looping shot, leaning back takes your head off the center line clearly. Now, leaning forward is more versatile than people realize, especially on the inside. Depending on the angle, dipping forward can dodge virtually any punch type. It's especially effective against jabs and straight shots when you combine it with a slight lateral shift, but you have to commit early. If you lean too late, chances are you'll go into the punch. Swaying with the direction of a punch while keeping your head low is kind of an advanced concept that you should take into consideration when practicing or drilling for comp in Fight Night Champion or Revival. If your opponent throws a hook to your right and you sway right with your head down simultaneously, you can cause a major whiff. The punch will completely sail over you, and this is one of the hardest reads for an opponent to adjust to, because the natural instinct in that very small counter window sometimes is to move against a punch and not with it. So you combine that with that shoulder reading I'm talking about, and just in general getting time in the game, reading animations, and you end up being able to take advantage of a system that's genuinely difficult to counter. If you're not used to using the ropes intentionally, you're also missing out on one of the better tools in the game, especially combined with head movement. When your back is against the ropes, your head movement becomes more powerful. The geometry of the position you're in gives you more leverage, and your slips and leans become slightly sharper. It feels like you have a little bit better of an angle and speed to it, and the punches you land from those positions carry more weight behind them. Let's talk about something that doesn't get enough attention too: stamina in head movement. When you throw big punches, that costs stamina. Eating big punches costs stamina as well. If your entire game revolves around standing in front of someone and trading, you can end up burning through your resources fast. But head movement can kinda be some type of equalizer for this. When you slip a punch and open a counter window, your most stamina efficient response is often going to be a jab. And one clean jab from a new angle after a successful head movement read will hit like nothing other. It'll keep your stamina low, but it'll also end up with your opponent whiffing a lot of shots, getting nailed, and causing I believe, more of a stamina drain on them in the long run, especially early on. But you have to make sure you know your character for head movement. Head movement is stat dependent. Your character's head movement rating directly affects how effective your slips and leans are going to be. A high head movement fighter like a prime Muhammad Ali archetype is going to be fluid, unpredictable, and hard to track. But if your fighter has a low head movement rating, do not build your game plan entirely around evasion. Instead, use the head movement and changing angles with a tight guard and be on your best behavior, essentially. So to bring it all together, head movement in Fight Night is an offensive and defensive weapon simultaneously. You're reading animations while timing your slips, changing punch angles, managing your stamina through jab counters, and using the ropes to your advantage in order to kind of switch up the flavor of your head movement, if you will. Now, to develop this understanding of head movement in game and utilize it, especially against harder difficulty or good competitors, this will take time to develop. You just need to focus on one element at a time. Start with the animation reads, then add directional slips. Start thinking about your counter output. Well, hopefully you guys enjoyed the video and it gave you just a little bit of my knowledge in Fight Night Champion. Go ahead and join Vertex Series. I appreciate you guys. Thank you.